This is my first attempt at filtering the rather clayey, smelly water that we got from the well the other day. You can see the little bit of sediment left in the bottom, thicker stuff I haven't put in the filter, and I'll just go through the parts. Okay, so at the top, Pepsi bottle, as you can see, and I've cut the lid off, and I've inserted a plastic wine glass, champagne glass like you would take on a picnic. Example of that one there. And I've just snapped the bottom off, and that's where the water's dripping out of. And inside what I've got is I made some charcloth out of a towel, so it's very fluffy. I'll go and show you a sample in a second of what that is, and I've jammed it into that neck as tight as I can, and I put the rubber band on the top to try and seal it as best I can. I figure that you probably have a rubber band on you in your survival kit. And the charcloth, because it's charcoal and got a lot of surface area, we should take some of that smell out as well as filter it. And I've just got a couple of cans here. The top one has got some holes in it, and it's filling up with water, which I'm a bit surprised about because I'm not sure why it's not going up the holes properly. And the bottom can is picking up the water that we're filtering. So I'll turn the camera off now, and I'll just see if I can find a sample of that charcloth. I just keep my charcloth in this little tin here. It's got some pretty brittle, what if I remember correctly, it's jeans that I've rolled up and burnt. That's actually, you can see it's quite powdery. Catches pretty well. This is probably could have done a bit longer, but it certainly wasn't black when I burnt it. But it's actually held together pretty well, so you can pull it apart a little bit, but it's just some toweling, and that's what I'm trialling in the filter. So I just wanted to prove this was actual charcloth, so we'll just struck a few sparks into that one, just see if we can blow it in. There you can see already that's pretty good. So you can see that's going to hold that spark for a while, and I play around with charcloth. I don't particularly carry it around with me in a survival kit or anything. It's just nice to know how to make it when you need to. Anyway, I might do a video on how to make it, but I'm sure there's plenty of videos on YouTube on how to make charcloth if you're interested. The difference is that most people use this type of charcloth, which is the pair of old jeans. This is the terry toweling or towelette. That's much more fluffy. It seems to catch the sparks pretty well. Puts off a bit of smoke too, but that's what I'm using in the filter. Anyway, thanks guys. We had a lot of success with that. That worked really well. You can see that the water is much clearer. There's a slight tinge to it. It's not the light. It slightly looks like incredibly light pea. You can see that very transparent now. As I described to you earlier when I gathered the water, that there was a lot of sulphurous smells to it due to the digestion of the plant matter anaerobically. I smelled it before I filtered it, and it still had that sulphurous smell, and now you can't smell it at all. So the actual charcoal filter that I made from the charcloth has taken out the smell quite effectively, so that's really good. And now it's just a matter of boiling the water, or if you wanted to use a life straw, you can go for that. You could have used your life straw earlier if you wanted to, but this way saves on the filter, the pre-filter on the life straw. So you're not clogging up the carbon filter or the pre-filter, so you get a longer life through it, or far more water through it if you want. Yeah, so what I'll do now is I'll boil the water and I'll have a sip and see what it tastes like. Certainly don't want to taste the pre-filtered water. So anyway, I'll let you know how that goes.
Hi guys, it's next morning. Water's cooled off and you can see that it's got this yellowy tinge to it. I don't know if that's from the tannins from the water or whether it maybe a little bit of the residue from the charcoal has come through. I might just run some fresh water through the charcoal and see if it actually comes up. But I'm guessing it's the tannins in the water from the leaves. So the proof's in the pudding, and we're going to have a little bit of a taste here. So, no, I don't have a great sense of smell, but I don't smell anything bad. No appreciable distaste, although maybe a slight, possibly like a very slight wheat tea taste to it. Maybe a little bit of a smoky aftertaste as well, but very, very mild. Put a tea bag in this and you wouldn't know where the water had come from. And probably if you just gave it to someone with a bit of glass in it, a bit of ice in it, that they wouldn't notice. Saying that, some people I know who've got incredibly good sense of smell and taste would, but anyway. Certainly would keep you alive anyway, that's a good thing. So I will deconstruct the actual the filter, just to show you how I put it together. It's pretty simple though. If you have those particular parts available to you, it'll take about 5 minutes. The tricky part, of course, is the charcloth, and the advantage of using charcloth as opposed to an alternative is that the carbon takes out the flavour and any chemical that's in the water that might be there. And obviously boiling doesn't remove chemicals. I'm just trying to think of a few alternatives that you might be able to use if you didn't have that charcloth on hand or couldn't make charcloth. Or what you could do is use maybe a crepe bandage out of your first aid kit, and you might have to cut a section off it and re-roll it so it's not quite so densely rolled. You might just want to do a few trials on that to see how dense the roll needs to be in order to remove out the particulates and take out as much as you can get out of the water. Of course, that affects the flow rate. And then you could actually put just crushed carbon from charcoal and just burn a few sticks, or you often see in Australian bush at least a lot of burn off. You probably won't even need to light a fire. There's a lot of charcoal in the bush already normally, so just scrape some of that off and powderise it up a little bit, and you don't want it too small pieces because that will discolour the water. Yeah, so anyway, what we'll do is we'll deconstruct out of the water filter.
Okay, so this is the filter I used last night. You can see it's pretty basic. It's just a Pepsi bottle with the lid, the bottom cut off, and I'll just remove this. The rubber band, all that does is sort of acts, pulls in the throat a little bit, and we didn't actually have any water coming off through that seal, so it was quite good. Wouldn't matter if there's a little bit coming through from that, because you're going to boil it anyway. And let's poke this out. Grab that. And you see that's just like one of those picnic wine glasses that you can carry, and I just sort of roughly cut the stem off the bottom. It doesn't really matter that it's all broken up. It's just more the critical part is that you want to compress the cloth inside and keep it nicely bunched up so that it forces the water through. And this is actually quite damp still, so I'm just going to push it out. There we go. Now this charcloth is still good to use, you just need to dry it out. So I'm just unroll it. I'll show you how much I approximately use. There we go. Yeah, it's a bit delicate, so there we go. So as you can see, there's a hunk of towel rolled up. So yeah, you can even see here there's a little. Where is it? They're ripped in a few tears, and it's just tearing off. I'm just going to just tear that off now. There you go. Okay, so I'm just going to pop that back out in the sun, dry it off, and then we go. The charcloth's back. Not a lot of dirty water coming off, a little bit. I'll actually see how dirty that is. So if you wanted to reuse it, you just clean it off in a bit of water, and you can see how much dirt that's come out of that. So that's means the filter's working quite well. Pretty muddy. Anyway, so I consider that one a successful filter. You might have seen the cans I had. All I had was I had 2 dog food cans, because that's what I had available. The good thing about these cans nowadays is that they clip so nicely together. Pretty positive clip. And I mentioned in the video the top can here was filling up with water. You can see there's holes on the bottom, and I'm thinking, oh, why is that filling up with water? Well, the actual seal here was so positive I had to put a couple of holes. One would have been enough, but I thought I might make a handle out of it, make a billy out of them, to actually break that airtight seal. A little bit of water gets in the rim in here, so that it makes a perfect seal, and the water wasn't just flowing through these holes. So I probably will make a sand filter with a bit of charcoal. I might even go on site to do this. And the only issue there is that you can't boil. I wouldn't want to start a fire unless you have permission and a designated fire place over there. And so anyway, I might construct this top part as one of the filters, and that can be just what catches the water. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that. I'll put this one up, and then I'll do separate videos for the other little experiments as I have time. I do want to apologise. Sometimes these videos are a little bit poorly edited and sort of a bit thrown together, and a few little hesitations. And to be honest, that's because I don't have the time to constantly re-edit and practice. They're a bit rough and ready, but you guys get the idea, so I hope that's okay with you. Anyway, I'll catch you guys later. Bye.